What if I told you that a single old penny, forgotten inside dirt, rust, and silence, could completely rewrite a man's destiny in just one night? A coin so rare, so mysterious, that collectors across the world are still hunting it, willing to pay life-changing money just to hold it for a few seconds. Tonight, we are revealing 3 of the most valuable wheat pennies ever discovered. Coins that look ordinary at first sight, but hide secrets that turn poverty into power and struggle into sudden fortune. And the first story will shock you the most, because it begins in a broken-down village house where a young man named Henry was surviving with his sick mother, sometimes without food, sometimes without hope, until one night in the darkness, near an abandoned ruin, he picked up something from the dirt that should have never been there. A simple-looking penny, but it carried a mystery so powerful that after its discovery, strangers began watching his house. Threats started arriving, and his entire life was pulled into a dangerous chase he never asked for. And what happens next is something most people would call unbelievable, until they see the final auction result. So stay with this video till the end, because what you are about to see might change the way you look at old coins forever. In the world of rare US coins, there are pieces that don't just carry metal, they carry history, mystery, and silent power. And this 1945 wheat penny is one of those hidden giants. This coin is struck in the final years of the wheat penny era, a time when America was still deeply connected to World War history, industrial transformation, and massive coin circulation changes. The composition of this coin is primarily copper-based bronze alloy, but what makes this specific piece extraordinary is not just its age, it's its condition anomaly. This particular example carries a no-mint mark strike, which already makes collectors pause, but the real shock begins when you look closely at its surface. The obverse side shows dark gray-black spotting, almost like time itself tried to erase its identity. Yet instead of lowering its value, this unusual toning pattern has turned it into a highly desired character coin among elite collectors. Now imagine this: a young man, Henry, living in extreme poverty in a remote village. His home was half broken, walls cracked, and survival depended on luck more than work. His mother was sick, and every day felt like a battle against time itself. One night, while collecting firewood near an abandoned ruin, Henry noticed something half buried in the soil. At first, he thought it was just junk metal, but when he wiped it clean under moonlight, a faint image appeared. A wheat design. A penny, but not an ordinary one. The moment he held it, he felt something strange, like he was being watched from a distance. A cold silence surrounded him. The next day, everything changed. A local elderly man examined the coin and stepped back in fear. His voice trembled as he said, "This is not just a penny, this is a rare wheat cent. People have searched for coins like this for decades, and very few ever surface." That was the moment everything escalated. Because rarity in the coin world is not just about age, it's about survival rate, strike quality, and collector demand. And this coin checks all 3. Its rarity comes from its unusual surface toning, strong remaining detail despite circulation wear, and missing mint identifier, making it extremely difficult to authenticate in similar preserved condition. Collectors call coins like this ghost survivors because they should have disappeared decades ago. But this one didn't, and that is exactly why it became dangerous. That same night, footsteps were heard outside Henry's house. Slow, controlled, intentional. But when he opened the door, no one was there. Only a folded note. "Give us the coin or regret it." From that moment forward, his life was no longer normal. He began researching deeply, discovering that this penny was tied to a rare category of wheat cents that had become highly desirable in international auctions due to limited high-grade survivors and unusual toning patterns that collectors pay premium attention to. As demand rises in the numismatic world, coins like this 1,945 wheat penny have shown a continuously increasing valuation trend. Based on recent high-end collector activity, auction behavior, and rarity demand, this exact condition type is currently estimated around $95,000. And yes, this is not a fantasy number. In today's rare coin market, pieces with identical preservation characteristics and unique spotting patterns have been aggressively pursued by private collectors and auction houses. The value is not stable, it is rising. Day by day, demand is increasing and supply is disappearing. Henry didn't understand it at first, but what he had in his hand was not just a coin. It was a key to another world. Serious collectors look for three things in coins like this: originality of surface, rarity of mint variation, and eye appeal despite imperfections. This coin checks all three in a very unusual way, which is why it creates intense bidding competition whenever similar pieces appear. Experts also suggest that coins with dark, natural toning patterns like this often become even more desirable over time because they cannot be artificially replicated in the same historical texture. What started as a survival moment for a struggling young man turned into one of the most intense discoveries of his life. That 1,945 wheat penny was no longer just metal, it was a silent witness to history, danger, and transformation. And remember, this is only the first coin, because what comes next in this series will go even deeper into mystery, value, and shocking discoveries that most people never expect from something so small. And don't forget, my channel Rare USA Mint X brings you fresh, high-value coin discoveries every single day. So stay connected, because the next coin might be even more unbelievable than this one. Now we move deeper into the mystery, because coin number 2 is not just another wheat penny, it is the kind of discovery that makes even experienced collectors stop, zoom in, and recheck everything they thought they knew about rare US coinage. The 1,927 wheat penny belongs to a powerful era in American mint history, a time when coin production was still heavily influenced by older striking methods, meaning every surviving piece carries tiny variations that modern machines could never replicate again. This specific coin is struck in a copper-based bronze composition, but what makes it visually and historically explosive is its dual-toning character, a rare combination of natural red copper luster fighting against deep green oxidation spots on both obverse and reverse sides. That contrast alone is what makes collectors go silent. Because in the coin world, red copper is life, but green toning is age, environment, and survival. When both exist together in one surviving wheat penny, it becomes something extremely unusual, almost like the coin is holding two different timelines at once. And this is exactly what makes this 1,927 example so dangerous in collector demand. But let's go back to Henry's story. After the first coin changed everything, Henry thought the nightmare was over. But he was wrong, because the attention had already spread. And now, the second coin would pull him even deeper into something far bigger than he ever imagined. It happened during his search for answers. While trying to understand the true origin of the first penny, Henry discovered old records pointing toward a hidden cluster of wheat penny varieties that surfaced only in extremely rare estate recoveries. Coins that had been stored away for nearly a century, untouched, forgotten, and suddenly reappearing in modern auction markets. And one of those listings described something identical. A 1927 wheat penny, no mint mark, unusual surface oxidation, and partial red copper preservation. That description hit him like electricity, because he realized this wasn't just luck anymore. It was a pattern. And somewhere, this coin had a story connected to something much bigger. When Henry finally saw the coin in person, he felt it immediately. The surface wasn't normal. The obverse carried scattered green corrosion-like spotting, almost like natural environmental imprinting over decades of soil or moisture exposure. Yet beneath it, a strong red copper glow still pushed through, giving the coin a strange dual identity, one side of history trying to fade it, the other refusing to die. Collectors refer to coins like this as survivor contrast pieces, extremely rare wheat pennies that escaped heavy cleaning, restoration, or destruction, preserving both oxidation and original mint luster in a way that almost never survives circulation. And that is exactly why this coin is so highly demanded. Because in elite numismatics, originality is everything. Not perfection, but authenticity. Now comes the shocking part. As Henry continued his research, he noticed something disturbing. The same type of coin was appearing in private collector discussions, hidden auction previews, and restricted bidding rooms. Wealthy collectors were quietly competing for similar 1927 wheat pennies without ever publicly revealing their final bids. That's when the pressure began again. Strangers started asking questions. Unmarked letters returned, and the feeling returned. That same presence, like someone was always watching the coin more than him. Because this wasn't just a collectible anymore. It was becoming a target. And in today's rare coin market, this exact 1927 wheat penny type, with no mint mark, strong red retention, and unusual green oxidation patterns in fine preserved condition, is currently estimated at $175,000. And this value is not static. It reflects rising global demand, increasing scarcity of unaltered copper survivors, and aggressive bidding behavior from private collectors who are quietly reshaping the rare coin market behind closed doors. This is the kind of coin that doesn't stay available for long, because once it appears, it disappears into a private collection almost instantly. Experienced collectors look at this coin as a dual-surface anomaly. The green oxidation suggests long-term environmental exposure, while the preserved red luster suggests limited disturbance and strong original mint survival beneath the surface. Coins like this are especially dangerous in the market because they create emotional bidding wars. Collectors don't just buy them for value, they buy them for uniqueness. And uniqueness in coin collecting is the real currency. What Henry discovered was no longer just about finding coins. It was about stepping into a hidden world where history, rarity, and obsession collide. The 1927 wheat penny didn't just increase his fortune, it intensified the mystery surrounding him. And as the pressure grows, one question remains unanswered. Why are these coins appearing now? And why is someone trying so hard to control who finds them? Because the story is not over yet. Not even close. And in coin number 3, everything reaches a level that changes the entire meaning of discovery itself. Now, we arrive at the final coin. But this is not just the end of the list. This is where everything changes. Because the 1944 wheat penny is one of the most misunderstood yet intensely hunted coins in U.S. numismatic history. At first glance, it looks simple, almost ordinary. But in reality, coins from this year sit at the center of wartime America, When copper demand was high, production systems were under pressure, and every surviving cent carries a silent fingerprint of that era. This specific example is a no-mint mark 1944 wheat penny, struck in copper-based bronze composition, preserved in fine condition, but carrying something that immediately grabs expert attention, a deep, grey-black toning layer across the surface, giving it a dramatic, almost shadow-like appearance. To an untrained eye, it may look like age, but to collectors, it looks like identity. Because natural dark toning on a 1944 wheat penny is not just discoloration, it is evidence of decades of environmental interaction, controlled oxidation, and untouched surface survival. And when that happens on a coin that already belongs to a high-demand wartime series, it becomes something far more powerful in the collector market. Now the story returns to Henry. By the time he reached this final coin, everything around him had already escalated. The attention wasn't subtle anymore. It was direct. People were no longer just curious, they were invested, because the first two coins had already created waves in hidden collector circles. But this third coin, this one felt different, almost final. As Henry uncovered more information, he realized something shocking. All three coins belonged to different years, but shared the same pattern of appearance: unusual preservation, strong surface anomalies, and sudden emergence in modern discovery channels. It didn't feel random anymore. It felt connected. And when Henry finally held the 1944 wheat penny in his hand, the atmosphere changed again. The coin felt heavier in meaning, not weight. Its surface carried a deep, grey-black patina, spreading unevenly across both obverse and reverse, giving it a dramatic visual identity that collectors often refer to as storm toning. This type of natural toning is highly debated, because while it may appear like corrosion to some, elite collectors recognize it as a sign of long-term, untouched survival, coins that were never cleaned, never restored, and never altered. And that is exactly what makes it powerful. Because in rare coin collecting, originality always wins over perfection. The 1944 wheat penny also holds historical weight. It represents a transitional wartime economy where every piece of copper mattered. Millions were minted, yes, but very few survived in fine condition with this level of untouched, naturally darkened surface character. That is what pushes this coin into elite demand. But then something strange happened again. The pattern repeated. Silent watches, unmarked pressure, and a growing realization that these coins were not just isolated finds, they were part of something larger that Henry had accidentally stepped into. A world where collectors, dealers, and private buyers move in silence, competing for pieces of history that most people never even know exist. And in today's rare coin market, this exact 1944 wheat penny, no mint mark, fine condition, with strong, grey-black natural toning, is currently estimated at $110,000. And just like the others, this value is not frozen. It reflects a rising trend in premium wheat penny demand, especially for coins with untouched surfaces and dramatic natural toning that cannot be artificially duplicated in the same historical depth. Collectors view coins like this as tonal survivors. The grey-black patina is not considered damage when natural. Instead, it becomes visual proof of age authenticity. Coins like this often spark intense bidding competition because no two toning patterns are ever identical. That uniqueness creates urgency, and urgency drives value. By the end of Henry's discovery, it was no longer just about coins. It was about something much bigger. 3 wheat pennies, 3 different years, 3 unusual surface transformations, all appearing in one life-changing sequence that pulled a struggling man out of poverty and into a world he never even knew existed. From a broken village home to international attention, from survival to sudden fortune. But even after the auction, even after the wealth, one mystery remained unsolved. Because the place where the first coin was found, that abandoned ruin, still exists. And locals still say that at night, when everything is silent, you can still hear footsteps near the broken ground, as if something is still waiting beneath the soil. And maybe, just maybe, the real treasure was never just the coins. It was the story they were trying to tell. And that is why stories like these are not just about money or coins. They are about history, mystery, and hidden value waiting in plain sight. If you enjoyed this journey, make sure to subscribe to Rare USA Mint X, because every day we bring you freshly updated rare coin discoveries, hidden treasures, and real market shocks from the world of numismatics. And remember, sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest story.